Welcome back to Shop Talk. Today we're going to have a review on the Zipp Kits FE26 Outrigger. I bought this boat probably around January, February, something like that. It took me a while to get it built. Mainly I was waiting on doing paint, but we've run it a few times now, and I think I'm prepared to do a pretty good in-depth review. As you see the boat, it's basically as they spec it out, and we're running a Rocket 4000 kV 2968 motor. We're running the propeller, the 3816 that they recommend, the rudder that they recommend. The only change that I've made in their specifications is on their stinger, they use a brass bushing sleeve like a Speedmaster, and it was actually really pretty chintzy. It was real light, thin brass, and the bevel for at this end over here was not very good. So what I've done is I actually put in Octora lead bushings, 3/16 bushings in there, and I like that a lot better. Some people may disagree with that, and that's fine. It all personal preference, but that's the way I've got it. Quality of the kit. First of all, I think the wood was pretty good. I was pretty happy with the quality of the wood. There's one exception to that, and we'll get to that in a minute. The parts were not marked on the wood sheet, so it was a little difficult, or at least not all the parts were marked on the sheet. And so the more difficult part of that is there's if you see the lip in here where the canopy rides on, so it rides inside on this little groove, it was really unsure which exact piece of wood they were referring to, and I had a hard time with that. I did send an email to them and ask them which one exactly is it, and their response was to send me a PDF of their instructions that was in color, which you could get on their website anyway. So I already had that, and that didn't help much either. So obviously I figured it out. It took a little bit, but anyway, I got that sorted out. That's my only really complaint with building the kit. The other issue they had, as far as on the wood kit part, was the ski. So let me take my little tool out here, and I want to show this because I was a little bit disappointed in this. A little battery out as well. Is if you look at this ski, you can see there's like a dimple there, a dimple there. They said to take some sort of 3/4 inch piece of something and put it inside here and then glue the side pieces on. And I didn't do that. I actually used this 90-degree small square, but that really isn't the issue. The wood sucked in. The wood is like really thin, and I'm not real happy that there's dimples on this piece that you have to ride. Now, the only way to fix that, I think, is you'd have to sand this all down, and you'd have to put a smear of body putty or filler or some sort of something to get that and blueprint that bottom. Now, I'm not sure it really matters because the boat's basically riding towards the back, but it's got to have a part in maybe possibly disturbing the water as it gets to it. I would like to see them, even though you're adding just a slight bit of weight, to go with a little bit heavier piece of wood here. Maybe the sides could be lighter, but I think this piece needs to be a little bit heavier wood so that it wouldn't get those dimples in there. Wasn't real happy about that. So that's an aspect of it. The other issue that I had is the website suggests that the Flycolor 90 amp is perfect for this. Well, it's really not perfect for this. The 90 amp Flycolor, when I started looking at this boat to build it, I'm thinking, well, I could put the Flycolor up here. That would give a better weight balance. You'd have plenty of room for batteries. You can move them a little bit. However, the issue that I ran into was if you put the Flycolor 90 up here where it would lay flat into the bottom of the boat is you'd have to run a long extension cable for your wires for the battery, and if anybody knows anything about anything, if you do that, you're going to start introducing more ripple into your ESC, which is not good. So that was another issue I had. So I contacted them again, and I said, how did you put the ESC in the boat? How'd you set it up? Because I'm having a little bit difficult time trying to figure out the best way to do this. Their response again was an email, and he said, I'll take some pictures and I'll send them to you. So he sent me pictures, and he has the ESC mounted on the side of the boat like I do, if you look right here. And the only problem is it wasn't the Flycolor 90 that he put in there, it was a Turnigy 90. And they're not as wide, so they fit inside in the boat. So I sent him another email, and I said, okay, I really appreciate you doing that. It gives me an idea there, but the Flycolor 90 is too tall because it was much wider, and it would stick above the hull, so you'd never be able to get the canopy on. He says, well, we're really busy. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm like, okay. So 20 days later, I still never received a response, and I'm trying to finish the boat, and he sends me another I finally sent him another email, and I said, hey, I'm trying to understand, you're recommending a Flycolor 90. It physically won't fit in the boat. Why would you recommend that on your website? And his response to me he sent me another picture of a boat with no hardware in it at all, and he put some pool noodles and angled the Flycolor 90 at a 90 degrees. Now, if you look in this, and the battery has to go back here. So we got room for the battery, okay? That's fine. So where are you going to put the pool noodles, and where are you going to put the receiver? It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all how he was doing that. And you could tell it was something that, because he hadn't responded in 20 days, that he just kind of jimmied together. And I would have never run a boat like that with pool noodles in there. He said put Velcro on the bottom. And that it would be fine. So I don't think it was fine, and I didn't do it that way. So if you look at how I did mine, this is actually a Flycolor 90. I'll put a link in the video of the modification I made on the Flycolor 90. It works really good. It's a cold block that I put. You can pop off the old heat sink, and I used thermal paste and thermal glue and glued this one all on, and it fits in there just like a glove. So that's an option. The other option is you can buy a Kraken 120 ESC, and that one's actually it's a little bit longer, so it's going to take up a little more room, but it's flatter, so it's not as tall this way, right? And that will fit inside the boat, no problem. So you can go with that. The only difference you're gaining or losing is the Flycolor 90 has a higher burst amperage, whereas the Kraken 120 does not have that. But it has, on the positive side for the Kraken, it has 120 amp versus 90. So that's my bigger complaint is with the company where they're not, it's like he didn't know what his boat was. And that was kind of disturbing. So the only other issue, and we're going to get to the how the boat runs and corners and everything in a minute, but I want to go through one more thing. Is I also contacted him and I says, well, the plans don't show, or the instructions don't have any indication of where the center of gravity should be. His response to me was basically anywhere on the sponson. Well, okay, so here's the issue with that. This is a 3,000 milliamp, and they do say on 3S, this is a 3S 3000, to run a 4,000 and then like a 3,300 4-cell if you want to run it in a 4-cell. Now with this battery in there, this is my balance mark right here. So as you can see, I can put this right here. This is my balance tool, by the way, guys. And put it right there. And this boat balances, once I get it in there correctly, fairly good, actually. It needs to go a little farther back, doesn't it? Anyway, my point being is that center of gravity is actually 1¼ inch behind the turn fin. Now, everything that I've read and studied and learned about hydros is, some people tell you it should be 3/4 inch, and that's probably relative to the boat, but 3/4 inch forward of the rear of the turn fin. So that would make this almost 2 inches behind the center of the turn fin. That's really not acceptable. For him not to know that and to just say anywhere is not really a good response, to say the least. So as far as the company goes, I'm really not happy with the quality of customer service they have. Other people's mileage may vary, but in my return, I was always very nice and polite, and I just needed some basic answers. It's not that I couldn't figure it out on my own, which obviously I did, but unless you add weight to the front of this, there's no way you're going to get the center of gravity to that turn fin. I just don't see how you can do it, building it the way they described to do it. So that's my biggest complaint. Buyer beware. If you buy a Zipp kits, I think the kit itself is a pretty good boat. Right out of the box, just the way you see it, I actually ran a 2200 milliamp, which is just a little bit lighter. It's just like 2 ounces lighter than the 3300. I got 51 miles an hour right out of the box with the propeller they recommend, setting the strut the way they recommend. I have the turn fin in a level position. They do have a notch in one of them, so you can angle the turn fin a little bit. And that's for, holding down the front and corners and so on, making the boat wet or dry. So the boat's been a really good performer as far as that goes. I did get, with the right propeller, I think I got 54 miles an hour with a different propeller, which is kind of where I thought it should be with the 3816, but weather conditions, water conditions, anything could change that. I've only run the boat, like I said, maybe 4 times. So that's really my review on the Zipp Kits FE26. I changed a few things. I put a water jacket on there. I went to the 8 millimeter cooling line. My modification on the 90 amp Flycolor. Like I said, I'll put a description, or I'll put a link in the description below, so that way you can find that if you have a 90 amp. But all in all, it was a nice boat. It was fairly easy to build. The sponsons are super easy to build. It's a foam core, and you just basically glue this piece on, glue this piece on, then you glue this piece on, glue this piece on, glue this piece on, and then that piece, and that's pretty much it. So it was actually really simple to get them squares, true, and straight. They already had holes through the styrofoam, so that was all good. So everything as far as that goes, it was really a good boat to build. I think it would be a good beginner boat for someone to build and still get some pretty good speed. Hopefully you're not too much of a beginner to drive it, because at 51 miles an hour things move pretty quick, and speed further up. So that's my review, and I hope everybody appreciates it. Can't talk. And thanks for stopping by anyway. I try to post these shop talks on Saturday. This one here will be on a Thursday, I think, or Monday. Might be a Monday, but maybe a Thursday. Anyway, but other than that, the other issue I did have too, real quick, is these collets are really, really nice, but I had a heck of a time getting this one tight, and it kept loosening up and sliding. I also, to be real brief, I asked about tow-in on the boat, and he kind of was wishy-washy on that. Well, you can, you don't have to, you can, maybe you could do up to this, or you could do that, or you don't have to have any. He wasn't definitive, and there's nothing in the instructions. And I think for a beginner's boat, people want to know that, what it should be, especially if they're new to an Outrigger or Hydro or anything like that. It's just good common sense to have that information in the instruction book, and there isn't. So by all means, check out the boat and give it a like. Please subscribe and throw a comment in there if you find something that I said that's wrong or misleading, or something you can elaborate on. If you have one, let me know. I'd love to hear from it. But other than that, I think it's a good boat. So thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.